Welcome to the Smart Driving Cars podcast. Glad to see you once again. We have a great session in store. This edition is sponsored by the Smart ETF's Smart Transportation and Technology ETF, symbol MOTO. For more information, head to motoetf.com. Technical support is provided by CARTS, the Corporation for Automated Road Transportation Safety, a 501c3 corporation. I'm Fred Fishkin, along with the Faculty Chair of Autonomous Vehicle Engineering at Princeton University, Alain Kornhauser. Hi again, Alain.
Hey, hi, Fred. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. And with us, we're so happy to see once again NVIDIA Vice President of Automotive, Danny Shapiro. Hi, Danny.
Hi, guys. It's great to see you.
Great to see you too, Danny.
Well, this week, NVIDIA announced a partnership, yet another, with Jaguar Land Rover. They'll be using your computing power for advanced driver assistance and autonomous capabilities in, I think I read, all of their vehicles starting in 2025. And we're here well into 2022, so it's not far off. Tell us more about the partnership and the significance here, Danny.
Yeah, thanks so much. This is a really exciting announcement. We work with many car companies all over the world. Jaguar Land Rover has been around for a long time and produces beautiful vehicles. They recognize, though, to move to their next generation of design, though, they needed partnering with us. And essentially, it's reimagining what they call modern luxury, bringing technology, bringing artificial intelligence to the entire fleet. So as you mentioned, every Jaguar model, every Land Rover model, all trim levels will be built on the NVIDIA Drive platform. So that's our new computing platform in the vehicle. It's a whole suite of sensors, cameras, radar, front-facing LiDAR, and it's a software-defined approach so that the features, the capabilities of the cars will get better over time. Several years of work ahead of us to bring them to market, but once they start shipping, we'll be able to build this fleet out and add new capabilities with software updates.
So over-the-air updates is what the owners are going to be seeing once this hits the market.
Absolutely.
It's really great that you're bringing it across the whole line, because I think, in some sense, this will provide some standardization across the line. It will get everybody comfortable with all the applications and all the features that one is bringing. One still has to deal with the driver in the loop in all this. And in some sense, they have to feel comfortable and move along with the product as it evolves, right? I mean, that's,
as we talked about before, this is bringing not full self-driving to market necessarily, but it's bringing the technology and the foundation to cars sooner and making those cars safer. And so even if there's a driver behind the wheel, the system will recognize hazards and be able to provide alerts and or step in to prevent those kinds of potential accidents that otherwise would happen.
Yeah, the advanced driver assistance systems, the automated collision avoidance that really works and really, saves my butt, when I'm there and so on. I mean, we all need help. We all need help in this and making it safer, right?
And what Jaguar and Land Rover recognizes too, it's not just about what's in the car. So they'll be using our full, what we call end-to-end platform. So the AI starts in the data center, it's trained. There's on-road testing, of course, but before we even get to that, we use simulation. Now, the simulation system based on Omniverse, we're using also for data generation, synthetic data generation, which improves the artificial intelligence and lets us accelerate development far beyond what data could be collected in the real world.
Right, because it allows you to create scenarios that you really don't want to create those scenarios for real, because how many stunt drivers and so on and really good people would you need to be able to do it? But of course, being able to generate those things, run them in simulation, get the systems to be able to respond properly to them and so on, right?
Danny, one of the things that's interesting here too is that the engineers from both sides are going to be working together here to develop that. And that seems like a fairly unique kind of approach. Tell us more.
I mean, it's not unique for us, but I think it's unique for the industry. This is how we've always worked with partners, whether it's a game developer on that side. Our engineers work with those game developers. Our engineers work with Disney and Pixar designers on basically creating new ways of doing things. And so our engineers sit side by side with our automotive partners and jointly develop the technology. We have the foundation, all the building blocks, the libraries, the deep neural networks, software stacks, but the applications are created unique to Jaguar Land Rover. So they will still be able to differentiate, offer a unique perspective, a unique user interface, and decide really what are those features that go into their cars, despite the fact that the core platform is being adopted by many other car makers in the market.
And that gives them the opportunity to have a deeper understanding of it too, when it comes time to selling this to their customers.
That's right. And it gives car makers the ability to have an ongoing relationship with their customer base directly. I mean, the car still may be sold through a dealer, but the software update, the data flows back and forth between the consumer and the car maker. And it creates this long-term relationship with us as well, because we will continue to support those vehicles for the life of the vehicle. So it's a long-term strategic partnership. It's different from being a supplier and just selling a part, but instead we're working together with them over the course of many years to bring it to market, and many, many years after they start shipping.
With car dealers, I think one of the issues is of course they would like to get some recurring revenue out of the customer they have. I mean, it's just a business and so on, and sort of the traditional model is that they sell it to you, and then it's over, and then of course what they want to do is that is have that thing become obsolete as fast as possible, so that you run back and buy another one, right? But now with the updates and so on, that thing can continue to remain relevant, non-obsolete. But as part of that process, it gives them an opportunity to participate in that, and people I would think would be willing to pay for that, and in a sense. So it really doesn't ruin their business for them. It gives them a new business opportunity, which in fact may enhance their business and should enhance, right? Or we miss it.
Yeah, the potential for business model transformation is huge. Recurring revenue streams are possible. Our deals that we're structuring is that we share in that revenue with our partners. They're excited about that because, again, this is all incremental to what they've had before, and we're enabling them. They couldn't do it without us. So we're enabling a whole new business model and revenue stream for them. And that's why I think some of these deals that we've been announcing over the last couple of years really transform the experience for the customer. It transforms and becomes a new profit center for the automakers. And it's good for us. We've announced over last year that our pipeline of future hardware software in vehicles is now over $8 billion. So it's still a relatively small business today, but now with our new technology that's rolling out first in some of the Chinese automakers later this year, and others into Mercedes then in a couple of years, into Jaguar Land Rover, we look at a 6-year horizon. It's a massive opportunity for us.
Yeah, my understanding is in Mercedes, you're going to be in there in the 2024 model. Is that correct, or not? That right? Yeah. So I went down to my Mercedes dealer. I said, I want one of those guys. So
similarly, right? It's starting at that point in time. Every single Mercedes model, every trim level will have the same platform on board, and the consumer then will have the ability to decide what options they want to pay for at that time. But if they don't buy it at the point of sale, they can always add it later, right? It's just a software switch.
Right. And these are EVs too that we're talking about, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, we're not saying our technology only works on EVs, but if you look at the trend, you look at the announcements of automakers, these next generation vehicles, everyone's moving to EV, and there'll be this phasing out. I think some of the research shows mid 2030s is when the EV sales will overtake combustion engine. So EVs on an up trajectory, combustion engines on the downward, and it'll take a few decades though.
But for you, the powertrain doesn't really matter all that much, right? I mean, whether it's
Yeah,
ICE, who knows, nuclear, hydrogen. No, I don't want,
well,
you know,
I
we don't
think
want to
what's
get goofy here, but
significant,
yeah,
yeah, what's significant is this mindset of re-architecting the car, right?
right,
We're reimagining how things interact. And so a lot of times they're just blank sheeting this. And so
right,
I don't know anyone who's going to design from scratch a brand new combustion engine vehicle.
yeah,
So it's
right.
all moving to NEV or other energy sources. But starting with that computer in the center, connectivity to surround sensors, redundancies built in, and basically everything from the data center, cybersecurity, networking, high-speed interconnect switches, all of these kinds of things. When you're dealing with supercomputing centers, we're making a small mobile supercomputer now. So you start with the computer, the peripherals, and then everything drive-by-wire.
And of course, that means all the controllers. Now, there aren't just window controllers, and there aren't just, who knows what heat controllers and separate chipsets for that part of it. Are there? Or, I mean, you're integrating all that, right?
So everything becomes software defined. And so we're
Right.
basically, there's still going to be some mechanical
Sure.
or electromechanical thing to roll the windows up and down.
Of course. I mean,
But-
software doesn't do that, right?
Right. But essentially then we'll be able to, if we're talking about windows, you could have different modes or settings or preferences of how the windows go up and down, their speeds or where they stop or whatever it is. So the mirrors, you think about, heating, cooling, all of these things are all fully programmable. The door locks, right? You can set it to automatically lock in some places and not in others, right? So you can tie it into the GPS and other systems. So there's a huge amount of flexibility, and that's where the software comes in. That's what's exciting. You can change, 100 different preferences of how the car behaves based on the driver profile.
You can even can you do, hey, Danny, roll up the window? I mean, we're going to do, hey, Danny, instead of, hey, Alexa, we're going to do, hey, Danny. I don't know.
But,
why
but
not?
You're right. So,
why not?
Huh? We're also, part of this is what we call the chauffeur for
Yeah.
automated driving, and the concierge, which is inside the vehicle.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of tools that we provide to let our customers, the automakers, tune that. And so that could be conversational AI, there could be driver and occupant monitoring, automatically recognizing who's in the car to set things. But same thing, conversational AI to interact with the vehicle, and then it goes to the cloud if it needs to search for restaurants or weather or traffic or anything like that.
And you can also, with that, have a much closer relationship with the owner or the family who has the car. In other words, I mean, you can actually establish a partnership with them in terms of, the kind of helping them. What kind of help do you need? Not just to sit there and watch them and look over them, but also to work with them, right? I mean, all that stuff is available.
Yeah, so there's obviously a number of safety aspects and then convenience as well. But to ensure nothing is left in the back seat when the car's locked and somebody walks away, just one simple example.
There's been so much controversy, Danny, and perhaps confusion around phrases like full self-driving and autonomous. Maybe you can explain what realistic expectations are here, throwing those phrases to the side.
Yeah, I think what we've announced with Jaguar Land Rover is, on the SAE levels, it's level 2+ and level 3. So I would call that driver assistance and automated driving, but it certainly is not full self-driving. Autopilot is a nebulous term because you think about it, it kind of came from airplanes. And so they're on autopilot, but there's still a pilot sitting there in place.
Two of them. Two of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think in that model, it's an autopilot. It's the car's driving itself, but there's somebody there that if they need to take over, they can. And but so to me, full self-driving is the level 4 range, and that's when you could close your eyes, you could sleep, you could do work, watch a movie. And so we're working with companies on the robotaxi front and elsewhere to achieve those kinds of experiences. I think it's critical that the public understands what it is that is in their vehicle, and what its capabilities and limits are.
We'll be back with more, but this is a good time to remind you about our sponsor, the Smart ETF's Smart Transportation and Technology ETF, symbol MOTO. To get more info, head to motoetf.com. On the website, look for the white paper titled The Smart Transportation Revolution. It's under the Insights and News tab. Some great information there that can help you make informed decisions about investing. ETFs, you probably know, can be a good way to spread risk with your investments. Maybe focus on a particular category of stocks. The website again is motoetf.com. We're back with more of Smart Driving Cars and our guest, NVIDIA Automotive Vice President Danny Shapiro. Let's turn to a couple of headlines for a moment from TechCrunch, Alain. New Waymo via partnership gives it access to 200,000 shippers and carriers. They're really looking at shipping as big business for them.
Well, I think, they've taken their technology stack, and if it can move people, it should be able to move things too, I guess. I mean, may even be easier to move things than it is people, because they're just things. So they're going down that market. A lot of other folks are there. One wants to do both. I'm more interested in moving people. Well, hey, I'd love to have stuff moved to my house with these things, no problem. So this is great.
Danny, what's your perspective on this moving goods?
We're seeing a huge uptick. I mean, part of it is just naturally more organizations, more businesses are interested in technology we're developing, but you've had a shift to more online shopping, commerce. So that's increased the demand for goods being shipped all over, but also the driver shortage. I think we've been talking about this for years, and it just keeps getting worse. So the need to be able to provide businesses with transport. There's been a lot of supply chain disruptions. And so we see a number of companies focused on long haul trucking, hub to hub types of operations, last mile delivery, but even things that aren't on public roads, within the ports, within logistics centers, warehouses, things like that. So this robotics, materials handling, as well as shipping are huge opportunities. And there's a lot of companies, established and startups, that we're working with to bring our drive technology to non-passenger vehicles.
Yeah, absolutely. Within the private confines of an entity, not on public roads, it's also essentially a no-brainer. The mining industry has been trying to do it for quite some time, and I think it's made enormous progress. But then the shipping industry, the docks and so on, all those places, and of course we know the materials handling systems in the warehouses and so on. I mean, they're all over the place. It's just the way to do things. My own sort of, I guess, academic or whatever comments have to do. If I could ask you to focus on something, the bringing of the kinds of things that you're bringing to Land Rover, Jaguar, and to Mercedes, I think need to be brought into the trucking industry to help the driver. Okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, one of the reasons there's a driver shortage is because it is, as far as I can see outside looking in, it is a terribly difficult and unsafe job. And I've even said for many years, OSHA should be in here cleaning the darn place up and providing much more support to the drivers out there. I mean, I can't see myself driving 10 hours a day, going down, trying to keep something between two white lines and not hitting stuff ahead of me without a lot of help to do it. I mean, I scratch my butt or I pick my nose and I go off the road and die. I mean, it is excruciatingly difficult. And no wonder there's a shortage of folks. I mean, to me, I would think the low-hanging fruit of this thing is providing, again, the kinds of things that you're you're doing for the coming owners of Jaguar and Mercedes and Land Rover to all of these Class 8s that are out there. I mean, my goodness, and I can't believe that there exists a CEO of a trucking company who wouldn't be absolutely leading out with. It's not to take the driver out of there. It's not to make them driverless. I mean, we have reasons to do that in Trenton because, I mean, people are poor. They can't afford it. To provide them mobility, you can't afford to. You just can't afford to pay the driver a living wage. But on these Class 8s and so on, there's a lot of valuable merchandise back there. And in fact, I used to be in that business, and all this trucking CEOs that I knew, they would be wanting to work with you to put that in their trucks way before they say, hey, no. All of a sudden, if it's an easier job, there's going to be more people wanting to do it. Okay. I mean, and my goodness, and you've improved it, and you've improved safety, and you've improved quality of life, and you've improved the delivery. I mean, that's what I see as a low hanging fruit of this. But what am I? The backwater institution here that we're here in the swamps of New Jersey. I mean, what the hell?
Danny does know it well. Stand up there, Danny.
Stand up, Danny.
There we go.
There we go.
Anyway,
big reunion coming up this year.
Reunion, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it live. Damn it, if it kills us, never mind. We don't want to go there. Absolutely.
Another quick headline, Alan. Reuters reporting that Volkswagen is in talks with Huawei about acquiring an autonomous driving unit. Billions of euros is what they're talking about here.
Yeah, I think, again, look, the availability of the technology at a somewhat affordable price that it is out there to be able to do this is making it a no-brainer, and it really we should move along that. It's not to, except for in certain applications, and not to pull the drivers out there, or not to have us continue to have nice cars to drive around. But we need help. At least certainly I need help. I mean, driving at night now, I mean, well, I'm getting up, whatever. I mean, I'm losing it, Danny. I'm losing it, so I need help. Damn it!
We're here to help you.
Along those lines, Danny, with all of the work that NVIDIA and others have done to bring this technology to market, and Alan talks about the billions, I don't know how many that's been invested here. What are your thoughts about how that's going to translate into real societal value? We were talking about trucking, but it's much, much broader than that.
Yeah, I think you'll see access, and the example of what's you're working on in Trenton is a great example. The ability to provide transportation services, and again, goods or people, really will open it up for people who cannot afford their own vehicles or cannot drive vehicles, and it will be life-changing.
Yeah, what we've, I guess, tripped over in Trenton, I would like to say we were so bright to be able to see it, is an involvement with the schools in Trenton High School. And if you look at the mobility needs of a city like Trenton, and you look at the 12 to 16-year-olds or 10 to 17-year-olds, guess who doesn't have any mobility on their own? Now, I don't know what you did with your kids, but I chauffeured mine around, and I loved doing it. Well, maybe we had such wonderful time in the car together. I mean, just to go across Trenton to shoot hoops with somebody, how's a kid has to walk? Okay, in Trenton, if you have to live more than a mile and a half away from your school before the city provides mobility for you, so you're walking it. Okay, and your parents don't have money for a car. 70% of the households in Trenton have access to one or fewer cars. And so if you're in that kind of community, which unfortunately, there are many more than just Trenton, having the opportunity to have your technology in there, delivering ability to move them whenever they need to move, and then sit around all the rest of the time saying, hey, in case you need to go someplace now, we're available to you. I mean, transforms one's opportunities and allows one to, and then if we're finding, if we start with the kids in Trenton, guess who's going to be the customer for this stuff a few years from now? Guess what? Guess who's going to grow with it? I'm going to be gone, the hell, but they're going to be, I mean, anyway. So, yeah, this has nothing to win all over the place.
Well, Alan, it's been about a week now since the State Department of Transportation awarded a $5 million grant to get this Trenton Moves project going. Let's talk a little bit about the next steps. What comes next?
I'll take a little credit. Holy mackerel! I got $5 million in Trenton. I mean, I feel like I'm the biggest, philanthropist in the world. But whatever. I mean, and it allows them to be able to get the darn thing, to at least discuss how to get the darn thing started. We still, have to. At least I'm not looking for 100 million, mostly from philanthropy, I hope, because I think it should be philanthropy that should provide this. Maybe we'll get Washington to throw in a few. And that's to get the darn thing started, to be able to then have a technology companies to come in there and really do it and start it in Trenton. But the whole idea is that once we get it working in Trenton, that it go out throughout Mercer County and then replicate it in Newark, Camden, all over the place, and then the whole Northeast, and boom, and then before you know it, it's a substantial business, and it should be a substantial business, and it has the opportunity to be there because Danny, I mean, you've been there, right? I mean, this Moore's Law technology. I mean, look at what you can deliver for $1 or per dollar versus what you could deliver 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I mean, the opportunities available with that kind of dynamic now put into not only the hardware, but the software and the ability to do that is, my goodness, I mean, good for everybody, helps everybody. And the key thing with respect to the Trenton thing, involving and centering it with the schools as a beginning, the kids will bring the parents and the grandparents. So therefore we get the whole community. The kids are there in the future to then be, and guess what? They then get to be motivated with the technology from the beginning. I am here doing this because of Sputnik. Because if Sputnik would have occurred 5 years later, school that I went to, blue collar, bottom blue collar, whatever, who knows what, I would have loved to get a job in the mills at Pittsburgh and tending bar at night. And that's what because of Sputnik, and I was in the beginning of 8th grade in 1957, it changed education in my blue collar school district, so that I then got interested in arithmetic more, and there was an AP course, and before you knew it, holy hell, I'm applying to Penn State and going as a space cadet, aerospace engineer, blah 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 blah. And it's because of that. And we have the opportunity in Trenton, because of the technology of NVIDIA and NVIDIA like that, and whatever, to provide mobility, to then provide that same kind of inspiration to the educational system in Trenton, that who knows how many kids will then, I think more than a few, holy mackerel, That's part of the value proposition here too. Oh, my goodness, how lucky can we be? Anyway,
I think the new technology we're seeing with artificial intelligence, with supercomputing so accessible, it's a new tool, a new instrument that will enable people to do amazing work that wasn't possible before.
right, and we do it in Trenton. It's going to inspire them to do that instead of who knows what, go work at the mill and tend bar. Not that there's anything wrong with working at the mill and tending bar. I don't want to, suggest that there's anything wrong with that. But I mean, I don't know. Anyway, this is what has us and really has the superintendent of the schools, has a mayor of Trenton, has a commissioner of transportation, has the governor of New Jersey, fundamentally motivated here for all the right reasons. I see, not just to get a couple votes. Anyway, that's what's so exciting, and you guys are leading it. Okay. Who would have thought out of a gaming industry? I mean, it's of course it all fits in. It all comes together. I mean, wow.
Providing mobility where it's really needed is what it's all about. And that's going to be the focus.
And providing opportunities for folks,
right.
That otherwise they don't have access to it. Oh, yipes.
And that's going to be the focus on of the next Smart Driving Car Summit, which is taking place in May.
So anyway, yep. So we're going to do it anyway.
And people will get a hands-on look at what's going on
hopefully,
too.
Hopefully. That's what we're going to try to create.
Well, we want to thank Danny Shapiro for being with us. Danny, terrific. Congratulations on the great work being done there at NVIDIA, and congratulations on the latest deal.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely. Congrats.
Thanks so much, gentlemen. It's always great talking to you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you to our sponsor, the Smart ETF's Smart Transportation and Technology ETF. The ticker symbol for the ETF is MOTO, and there's more information available at motoetf.com. Technical support is provided by CARTS, the Corporation for Automated Road Transportation Safety, a 501c3 corporation. You can find us at smartdrivingcar.com, also on Anchor FM, Spotify, TuneIn, wherever you turn to for podcasts, you can find us. You can get your smart speaker to play us too. You can find my tech reports at techstination.com. I'm Fred Fishkin along with Alain Kornhauser. Thank you for listening or watching, and please stay safe.